So Harvard just came out with 15 daily habits that are silently destroying your health. At least Harvard researchers did. And I'm here with my mom to discuss how some of these habits might be in our lives and maybe in your lives. So I'll link to the article in the description and I'll put some of them on the screen. But the title is Harvard's New Health Bombshell. It's not sleep loss or exercise. It's these 15 daily habits silently destroying you. The real killers aren't dramatic. They're the tiny, invisible, normal things you repeat without noticing. And Harvard researchers say they're quietly shortening your life. What do you think about that headline?
Frightening.
Frightening. You heard it first. Gen X has spoken. It says that this isn't fear-mongering, but it's Harvard-backed data that you can't afford to ignore. So you can't afford to skip this video either. So let's get straight into it. The first daily habit silently killing your health is starting your day with your phone. Harvard neuroscientists say the instant cortisol spike, cortisol is the stress hormone, caused by morning scrolling primes your body for 12 hours of stress. You think you're catching up, but your brain thinks you're in danger. So I know that this is something that you should always avoid. You don't want to scramble your brain with the mess that's on social media. When you first wake up, you want to be empty. You want to be receptive with light, with nature, with water, anything besides the mess that's online. But how can you relate to this? How have you noticed your days different? How do they vary versus when you use your phone versus when you don't?
So my job, I want to say 80% of it is on my phone. So when I wake up, unfortunately, it's one of the first things I think about are my emails, what's happening, and I try to reach for the phone. I try not to roll out of bed and grab the phone, but it is on my mind. And yes, I have noticed that I get a little agitated, I get anxious,
It's like that get up and go feeling,
right?
But not in a good way.
Exactly. But I'm not really thinking. I'm just going for my phone to check my emails. I'm not a surgeon. My job doesn't save lives. And it's unfortunate that I feel that way, that I have to check my emails. I have tried where I don't pick up my phone. I try not to think about work and I go straight to, my hot water with lemon. But once I start drinking my hot water with lemon, I start feeling like I need to reach for my phone. I need to check it.
Yeah, so your brain is actually a priority. It's a signal prioritizing system. So it files through the different priorities, the different signals. So you've trained your brain to crave that hot water and lemon signal. But then right after that, it's like, well, the emails are going to be second. And I think for most people, their phone and catching up, that's what people say, like, oh, I got to catch up. I got to read the news. That's what it even says here. You think you're catching up, but your brain thinks you're in danger because it's like, oh, what did we miss? Mm-hmm. You're like scrambling. And like you said, it's unfortunate that it has to be this way, but the modern day of capitalism has made us so that we have to adhere to these things. Maybe we can talk more about why you choose hot water and lemon, but maybe that's for another video. But for now, we're going to talk about the second habit, sitting more than 6 hours a day. It's not dramatic, but deadly. Harvard's long-term study found that prolonged sitting increases mortality risk more than smoking for certain adults. You don't feel the damage until it's too late. This one that I think has been floating around for at least the past 10 years or so, that sitting is the new smoking. Standing desks have become very popular, almost essential in many places. I haven't really noticed personally the difference between sitting and standing. I just know it's something that I try to do at all times. I always try to stand up, especially if I'm doing focused work. If I'm trying to do intentional work, I'm going to be standing up. If I'm doing work while like slouched on the couch, it really isn't that important. But as far as health, I know standing up is very critical. How do you relate to this?
So I noticed a huge difference after COVID working from home. The distractions, the being comfortable. I hope my boss is not seeing this because it was difficult to focus on work while being on the couch. And I know some people had the luxury of having a designated space for like an office and a table. But at work, I have a standing desk. So it's easier to be able to say, okay, I'm going to sit. If I have to sit for an hour because work requires my attention for an hour, I will do that. But then I'll start noticing my legs get a little numb. And
the blood starts pooling.
Right. So my legs start getting a little numb. So now I'm like, so now I'm distracted because my legs. So I'll stand up and I'll go to the bathroom or I'll go to the kitchen, get some tea or something just to, get some blood flowing in the legs. And yes, and I've noticed that on my busy days at work, I do forget to stand more often and I'll go long periods sitting and I just become stiff and I become a little more, I feel tired instead of feeling, I've been sitting. So you're thinking I'm resting. I should be not feeling tired, which is weird. So by the end of the day, coming home, I walked home. Yes, that's good. But I already feel like I am exhausted.
From sitting. Yeah, I'm not sure what the science is behind why sitting is so bad, but I know that they at least say every 15 minutes you should stand, sit, stand. Because when I stand for a long time, I notice my hips or my knees or my feet start to feel off. They start to feel sore. So I guess that's why you should transition from sitting to standing. Yeah. So the third habit is eating in a hurry. Your body cannot digest in fight or flight mode. Fast eating leads to chronic inflammation, which leads to gut disruption, which leads to weight gain. It's not what you eat, it's how you eat. I remember you and Dad used to say to me, no one's chasing you, while I was a kid when I'd be eating. And this is something that I know I do. I can eat very fast, especially if I'm eating like a good meal or a big meal. And this actually ties into that phone thing. It's like, oh, well, I have something else to do that's more important than eating. Let me get through eating so I can go deal with that. So there's so many different signals that my brain, at least, is dealing with that's like, yeah, this food is either really good, so let's eat it fast, or this food is not important and this other thing is more important, let's eat it fast. And if it leads to inflammation, chronic inflammation, we know that's deadly. Inflammation is really what causes aging, and it's what causes a lot of these diseases. How do you relate to this?
Yes, I've always been someone that eats fast, and I know I used to tell you not to. I mean, just think about it. You bite into something, you maybe chew it twice and then swallow it, which is going to take longer to digest and break down and all that stuff. And I don't know, does it hit you harder, like the whole being sleepy after you eat so fast? Because
it's exhausting. It's an expensive calorie process for your body to digest something. And if you're not chewing it a bunch of times, they say 30 times is about the sweet spot. Then instead of it digesting partially in your mouth, because digestion begins in your mouth, instead of it being broken down by saliva and by the different enzymes, now it's just going straight down, and it's like, whoa, this is a lot. Especially if it's something like processed sugar or like red meat even. Really anything, if it's just going straight down the hatch, then.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know my job is the one that pays my bills, but you're busy, you're eating at your desk.
I can imagine a lot of people watching this can relate to that. They have to eat at their desk.
You want to finish something up because you don't want to stay after hours and, finish that up, or because you don't want it to pile up for the next day. And, so what you eat at your desk. And again, it's not like you're eating fast to say, oh, let me finish eating lunch so that I can go for a walk. It's just basically, let me eat fast so that I can go back to work.
These signals, these priorities are very skewed these days. Number 4 is drinking coffee before water. Harvard's hydration research warns waking up dehydrated plus consuming caffeine equals compounded fatigue, headaches, and cortisol dysregulation. You think coffee wakes you up, but it actually worsens the crash. This is one of the more obvious ones to me. I mean, caffeine obviously dehydrates you. Coffee is super strong. The kind of caffeine in coffee is not as smooth as, say, in tea, especially in green tea. It doesn't have that theanine to balance it out. But a lot of people who drink coffee a lot don't really hydrate very well. There's this guy that I listen to on the radio who drinks like 7 cups of coffee and he doesn't drink any water. There are people who just don't drink water, which is mind-blowing. Like, hydration is so important. Like sodium is a part of it. Electrolytes are a part of hydration as well. But water itself is almost like a no-brainer, at least to me. You don't drink coffee, but you do drink caffeine sometimes. What's your approach with that?
Well, like I said earlier, when I wake up, I have hot water with some lemon. It just makes me feel good. I mean, it's nice and warm, and it just comfort. It feels like comfort. I drink green tea, but I only drink it when I get to work. So it's, an hour and a half after I'm up.
Which is important too, because if you drink caffeine right upon waking, your adrenal system isn't even activated yet. And it actually dysregulates that. It messes with your circadian rhythm and whatnot. But it's just unfathomable to me to drink coffee without water, because it's so dehydrating, so stimulating that it's like you want some grounding. But I think people get really used to it. Mm-hmm. And people probably also think like, oh, it's good for me. Like, this is the only thing that makes me feel awake. Yeah. But it's really doing a lot more harm. Number 5 we just talked about is working through lunch. Harvard behavioral studies show that this leads to mental depletion, emotional numbness, and decreased productivity. Decreased productivity is so obvious to me. When I used to work office jobs, I would always take the lunch out. And I remember, especially when I first got hired, they would say like, oh, we usually we take lunch at our desk. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm the type to, take my time. But especially in terms of resetting, it's like, you don't want me to be stuck in here all day. I'm going to go get fresh air. I'm going to get sunlight. I'm going to go get some ambulation, some movement, like walking. I'm going to have to reset if you want me to be productive.
Yeah.
If you don't want me to be a curmudgeon miser, while in there, especially after eating. Like, I mean, to me, the most obvious thing is that digestion and blood sugar fluctuations mess with your mood, mess with your productivity, your output. It's just such a no-brainer. But here it's saying emotional numbness, which is another layer that I think we're really seeing. Like, think about the lunch slop, they call it, like sweet green, kava, chipotle. Imagine the people that eat the same thing every day, right at their desk. They're scrolling while working, while eating. And it's like your emotions don't have a place to outlet. And now your emotions are only related to work. And now those are just being in a cycle. So that's a whole mess. So how do you relate to the emotional numbness part and the productivity? Do you feel like you're more productive when you go out for lunch, or when you're locking in and staying focused on a task? And do you feel any emotional blunting when you're eating at your desk?
So this is what happens. Again, I said that sometimes when it's very busy, it's just easier. I take my lunch to work because,
You make your own lunch.
it's healthier for me, and it's just easier access because I don't go outside to get lunch or, for a walk, which would be a good excuse to buy lunch outside, that way you walk out. But so I eat at my desk, and I feel like, oh, I can still check my emails. I have 2 monitors at my desk. I can still check my emails because they're going to be popping up.
There's no downtime.
And hey, I deserve a little bit of a reward when it comes to, I've been working all morning really hard. I'm going to have my nice salad. Hey, what's going on social media? Sometimes it's a little hard for me not to be in touch with what's going on, being in the industry that I'm in. It's, constant, what's happening in Hollywood and what's happening and, anything related to Hollywood. So I have emails that are constantly popping up, giving me updates about that. And I feel like, oh, this is my way of catching up.
And that
while I've been working all morning,
That doesn't leave any room. That's the emotional numbness part. It doesn't leave any room for you to think about you and your life. Something that I like to do is eat my lunch with no stimulation whatsoever. It's much easier done outside. You get sunlight, you get to enjoy that, you get to listen to birds, city noise, whatever it is. But you do get to sit with your thoughts, and you get to feel your emotions, most importantly. I get some of my most creative thoughts. Like, I'll get the creative thought there, and I'm like, oh, now I want to go back and do that. But I let it sit there. And I certainly notice when I'm feeling like a little anxious or that cortisol uptight feeling, that it's like, nah, I need to watch something or I need to listen to something while I eat. So I notice the days where I'm able to do it versus when I'm not able to do it. It has a lot to do with my emotional baseline and my tolerance for stress, which is the next number 6 on here, which is ignoring micro stressors. So not big stress, like I was saying. These are micro stressors, tiny frictions, clutter.
Oh.
That sounds like it's not a micro stressor for you. Unread emails, notifications, and messy desks. Harvard calls them invisible stress loads linked to burnout and early biological aging. So I think some of us feel this on a low level, but it's either something we're very cognizant about or we pretend not to care about. I'm somebody who says I can function with a mess that is controlled, that's like mine. I'm not dirty, but I can be messy. I can leave things out, especially if I'm busy. If I'm busy, picking up my clothes is not a priority. Like hanging things back up is not a priority. Putting things back. But on a lower level, I do know that it's not the clean, open space that would make me feel more productive. So deep down, I am storing that micro stress. I know you feel totally different about this, especially when it comes to clutter and especially when it comes to mess. So what's your experience with that?
I can't think, I can't focus if there is mess around, or if I know that something has to be done, either something has to be put away. I just can't focus. That's why, again, like after COVID, it was very difficult because, working from home, it was, you leave a towel here or a sock is over there, and it just distraction for me. I like not, it's not like extreme cleanliness, but yes.
It's order.
Order. I do like order. Did you say about emails? Like,
yeah, emails,
I clean out inbox.
Yeah, I've never done that.
I clean out my inbox. I put emails in folders. You know,
I do
organize
that with my notes.
Yeah, I organize that. My Gmail is up to date. You know, so my work email the same. Yeah, I can't do anything.
Turning off notifications is huge for me. I don't have notifications on for really anything.
I don't either. I only have them for work. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, I have the luxury of not needing to adhere to somebody or to something at all times. But it has bitten me sometimes where it's like, oh, I haven't checked in a long time. And people will text me, they'll be like, yo, like, what do you don't look at your phone? I'm like, yeah, I don't. Because of this reason. The phone stresses me out. I can tell you that. That's not a micro stressor. That's a stressor. So I know how to mitigate that. I also turn off the badges. I think for anyone watching this, if you want to take your stress levels down a notch, turn off those red badges in your settings for missed calls, for emails. Who wants to see a number, a red number? Like they choose a red number intentionally to make you feel like you got it, it's urgent, you got to read this. But I don't have any of that, especially not for messages. Yeah, it stresses me out just thinking about it. Number 7, Mom. Look at that one. If we don't know this one better than anybody, constant low-level noise exposure, traffic hum, cafe crowds, office chatter. Harvard researchers found these raise baseline cortisol and impair focus without you noticing. I've noticed it. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan, which might be, I don't know what the loudest places on earth are. I'm sure the ones that are next to factories or whatever, or highways, or like subways are louder, but there is constant traffic over here.
And for those who don't know what Hell's Kitchen,
it's right next to Times Square.
Right next to Times Square.
Right next to the Lincoln Tunnel. Right next to the West Side Highway. Like we're sandwiched between these things. So it is constant city noise pollution. And I've noticed from living in one part of Hell's Kitchen versus another, one that's much quieter versus a part that's much louder, I feel the stress burden way more. And I know it's because of the noise. And noise pollution is well known, but on a low level, it's silently raising that cortisol over time. And it can affect sleep. It affects your focus. You know, it just constantly makes you notice things, even if it's on the back burner. It's just like, it's there. Office chatter and cafe crowds is interesting. I mean, I like to mute out cafe. Like if I'm at a cafe working, I don't want to hear anything. Like I'm not able to focus without, you know, my own noise, music or whatever, or canceling it out entirely. Office chatter is for you. How does that affect you?
Pretty awful. It's getting to the point where there is a gentleman. So our offices, there's very few offices. We do have where if you have a Zoom meeting, you can, you know, reserve a small office to, you know, have your meeting in there, but it's usually like the open concept. So we're all out in the open. And I understand now why some people just walk around with noise cancellation headphones.
It's everywhere now.
There's a gentleman that laughs from the moment he gets to the office. Then I don't hear him because he does go out to lunch. So he is doing something good.
He's doing a lot of things right.
And then he comes back, and for the rest of the afternoon until he goes home, that man is laughing at something.
He's living cortisol free.
It is so awful to have to hear that all day long.
And some people aren't even fazed by these things. Some people don't like hear stuff. Like, I don't know if you know anyone like that. I know a lot of people who are just like, I didn't even notice that. Mm-hmm. It's like, how did you not notice that loud noise or that constant noise?
Yeah.
To me, it really bothers me. I'm very noise sensitive, so that makes a lot of sense. Number 8 is not going outside before noon. Daylight exposure earlier in the day calibrates your circadian rhythm. Miss it and your sleep, hunger, and your hormones, as well as your mood all drift off track. We know that. We're very big on light exposure. I try to get daylight within 30 minutes at least. Sometimes I try to get it as soon as I wake up, the first thing. You can feel it. I have a window right by my bedroom, so I can just go straight outside and get that light. And it feels good. It feels very activating. It's awakening. But, you know, the circadian science is robust. At least everybody should know about how important it is for regulating all these things that I mentioned. But not going outside before noon is probably something that a lot of people do. Especially younger people who are just like very video game centric, social media centric. But we all do it at some points. I definitely feel it. If I don't go out before noon, it's a bad day. Do you relate to that?
Well, I walk to work, so I have no choice but to be out of the house, you know, in the morning. So I get my sun exposure then. But then, you know, on weekends when I don't have to go into the office, then it's like, you know, sometimes I feel like, oh, if I have an errand to do, I'll try to do it early in the morning instead of the afternoon. So, and you know, if you have something to do in the house, yes, I've done it where it's like, yeah, I'll go outside later.
Yeah.
You know,
because it feels like also on the weekend, it's like, oh, this is my time.
Right.
That's a task. It's a burden. I don't really want to do
Yeah.
it. But it's really so important. There's almost nothing more important than sun exposure for your hormones, for everything.
It's just so much harder in the winter time.
We're on number 9 anyway. Short, shallow breathing. Under stress, you breathe like you're surviving, not living. Harvard's respiratory research links shallow breathing to anxiety loops, brain fog, and poor immune function. We know a little bit about this. We know that breathing is correlated to heart rate, inflammation, immune stress. And growing up in a city, and you having lived here for a while, like shallow breathing and this anxiety is just the way of New York. And it's funny because up until COVID, it's not something that you really thought about or felt. Mm-hmm. And it's something that was like almost like a badge of honor. It's like, yeah, New Yorkers, you grind. Yeah, we're tough, whatever. But after COVID, it's like, no, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And now there's just more stress in the air, for lack of a better term. People are collectively feeling more stressed out. So the shallow breathing is something that you notice. It's like, I wasn't breathing while I was scrolling. I've been breathing with my chest, or like I was holding my breath. And it creates for your brain and your nervous system this survival state rather than living and thriving. I know that when I always look back on when I was a kid, I'm like, I smelled things differently back then. I breathed differently, like my breathing was more full. It's part of my breathing is different now, but I think a lot of it has to do with I didn't feel like I was surviving back then. You know, and now I feel like I'm surviving just like probably everybody else does. It's like, oh, you gotta hustle, you gotta grind. You know, we're living in this city, but I find that when I get my breathing right, I feel really good. And that's when exercise comes into play, breath work, and especially like different tools to activate your diaphragm. We did that breathing exercise yesterday. That sort of stuff really helps to get your mind right so you don't feel like you're surviving.
I've noticed I walk to work, so it's like I don't know, it's like, is it 10, 15 minute walk?
It's like 15, 20.
Yeah. I don't know why it made me, so I listen to my podcast on my walk, but I've noticed that sometimes I'm trying to really listen because I'm really engaged in what the podcast is about. I walk slower. So I think I'm going to start maybe just doing the podcast, just maybe 5 minutes of my walk, and then the rest maybe put some music on to like make me walk faster, because I've noticed that if I'm listening to a podcast, I am holding my breath.
Because you're thinking.
Because I'm trying to, you know, really listen to what they're saying. And it makes me walk slower. So if I walk faster, it makes me realize, okay, you have to breathe.
Your respiratory rate picks up. And the big thing about this, and I'd love to make more videos on breath work, but something for most people to consider, for everybody, is that you want to focus on your exhale rather than your inhale. If you're watching this, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, you got to inhale. Like if you're not breathing, you got to take more inhales. It's not about that. Most people are either over breathing or under breathing. They're both really bad. Under breathing is when you're holding your breath, but over breathing is when you're like really excited or you're really anxious, and you don't want to do either. You want to focus on your exhale though. You want to longer exhales. And when you find yourself in a place where you're kind of anxious, just focus on that longer exhale rather than the inhale. And when you're like on your phone, when you're thinking, remember to exhale. Not remember to breathe, not remember to inhale, remember to exhale. It's just like a really good, well, helpful keystone to manage this stuff.
So inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth?
Through your mouth. And then I like to do inhale 3 or 4 seconds and then exhale for 6. I do that while I'm walking, while I'm thinking, working, while I'm doing cardio. At a certain point, you're going to have to inhale a little more than 3 if you're doing like higher versions of cardio, but 3 or 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out works for most things. And that long 6-second exhale is super valuable. There's just a lot of benefits that come with it, and then you'll feel more calm above all. Okay, number 10 is eating healthy, in quotes, but mindless snacks. Even clean snacks spike insulin when eaten unconsciously. Harvard's metabolic lab calls it the silent weight gainer. It's not junk food, it's the frequency. This is another thing that I think is pretty obvious. I mean, if you eat anything, your insulin is going to spike for the most part. It's going to go up. Some things don't raise it by much, like bone broth or, I don't know, like a couple almonds or something like that. Your insulin's not going to spike like it would with a cookie. Like your blood sugar goes up a lot when you eat something with a lot of sugar. Obviously, that's what blood sugar is. You're putting sugar into your blood. And then when that happens, insulin spikes to match it. And you don't want insulin spikes. It's not good for you. And blood sugar is not good for you either. It messes with your nerves. Everybody knows blood sugar is not great. But eating anything raises your blood sugar, which is true. And a lot of people might remember when they used to say like, oh, eat a ton of small meals throughout the day. People mistake that for eating a ton of small snacks constantly. That's not good. It's okay to have small meals if they're actually whole food, high protein meals. This one is saying healthy snacks. For some people don't even realize what healthy is. Like a Nutri-Grain bar is not healthy. Baked Lay's potato chips, that's not healthy. Diet Coke, like, you know, like there's a hierarchy of these things. But even, you know, an apple, strawberries, let's say you have that. Yeah, it's going to raise your blood sugar. It's going to raise your insulin. But that's why you do want to time these things. If you go for a walk and you have some fruit afterward, that's fine. That's totally fine. After a workout, obviously. But if you're eating snacks between your meals, yeah, you're basically never giving your body time to digest, and your blood sugar never goes down because you don't give it time to relax. So I think making the healthy food choices is the most important thing. But then also realizing like, nah, if it's a snack, maybe just make it a meal. And if it's a meal, add some protein into it, delay it for another 20 or 30 minutes. And now that's your evening meal or your afternoon meal rather than, oh, I'm going to snack now. And in 30 minutes, I'm going to snack again. And it's okay because I had a light lunch. Nah, you actually just had a big lunch. You just spread it out.
Does it help to lower your insulin? Like, let's say you eat lunch and then you go for a walk, or like how they say after your dinner, you should, you know, a short walk or something.
Yeah, it's great to help your blood sugar go down. So when you have sugar in your blood, you want it to go from out of your bloodstream into your muscles. You want it to be glycogen for your brain, for your muscles. Your body likes that stuff. That's why we like sugar. And so working out, walking, jumping up and down, like even massaging yourself helps put the sugar into your muscles where it should be. Walking helps you digest, which is also great so that you don't, you know, have that elevated insulin spike. But yeah, that's definitely the way to go, is if you're eating, do some movement to so-called cancel it out, because it's not all about calories. I mean, we're going to be not talking about calories very much in the future. Yeah, there's too many high calorie foods, but you gain weight when your insulin goes up. That's why insulin's not great. Your blood sugar is bad for your nerves, for your blood, but insulin is directly what makes you gain weight, what makes you hold on to weight and fat. You're not burning fat if you have all of this going on. Fat is on the back burner. So yeah, walking is almost a non-negotiable, especially if you had like a big meal. You're almost going to want to walk so that it can, speed up the process.
Yeah.
We're on number 11, checking your phone while walking. You think it's harmless, but Harvard's cognitive research shows that it makes your brain operate in a fragmented mode, increasing anxiety and reducing memory retention. I love this one. I've had this big theory for a long time that human collective consciousness is fragmented because we're all on our phones, which is no like big revelation, but now we're using our phones at different times, right? Let's say back when Seinfeld was huge, everybody was watching the TV at the same time. That's almost not so bad because we're doing it at the same exact time. Yeah, we're not interacting, we're not sharing conversations or whatever because we're watching TV, but it's all at the same time. So it's like for those 30 minutes, we're all doing the same thing. Now we're checking our phone. Johnny's watching Netflix. Betty's doing the dishes while, listening to a show. We're all doing different things at different times. So our collective consciousness, for lack of a better term, or our reward systems are so not only dysregulated personally, but collectively, we're in different places. Let's say you woke up and you watched 3 hours of Netflix. I woke up and I was like in a Zen garden, like meditating for 3 hours. And we walk into each other, we're not in the same place.
Yeah.
We're not going to relate. So our energy is not in the same place. Imagine, like, let's say before television, like radios, whatever. Let's say like the 1940s, right? The average person walking around in the 1940s is just the same as everybody else around them. The rhythm of work, the sun rises as it sets. Like, they're all in the same rhythm. The circadian rhythm is not interrupted by anything. Now we have lights. Now we have blue light screens. I mean, like, we are just so dysregulated collectively that, this is a problem. This is just saying for you, like, hey, don't check your phone while walking because it throws off your rhythm. Yeah, to me, that's kind of obvious. Like, your attention is all you have. Your consciousness is all you have. If you're just focusing on walking, that's probably all you should be doing. Now you're checking your phone, your mind is elsewhere.
Yeah.
There was nothing else really in history that you could do that with outside of your own thoughts, which is fine. But now it's like your attention is siphoned to some other world. And now everybody's like that. I think that's why we all collectively feel like we do.
Yeah. I mean, it's also so dangerous to, you're walking, especially here in the city.
I mean, that's everywhere.
It's, you walk into traffic, you run into people behind you can, push you out of the way, you can trip and fall, and
you're just not in the real world.
Yeah.
You're just in la la land, and people have accepted that, and people really like take a badge of honor with it, like, oh, it's just me in my bed, or like, I'm gonna bed rot this weekend, I'm gonna veg out. Like, I don't even like talking about it. It's so frustrating because it's sad. It's like if you're somebody who thrives off connection and like that vibrance, that energy of humans, which is what I grew up on in Manhattan, it's not around anymore. People don't want it. They're isolated and they don't know how to socialize even if they had to. So it's pretty frustrating. So that's a good one that's on here. Number 12 is delaying hard tasks. Not procrastination, but micro delay. Postponing small tasks raises stress markers and creates chronic mental load. Harvard calls it compounded cognitive drag. I can totally relate to this. Postponing small tasks. There's so many tasks. I mean, if you could see my wall right now and my tabs, there's a million things that I want to do, and there's a million things that I work on all at the same time. But there's some things that are just like, up there, you see that where it says LLC nonprofit with 3 big exclamation points. It's like, this is the one you have to do. It's such a small task, but for some reason it's like, I don't want to do it. It's just like really frustrating and bothersome to even think about doing it. Why? I don't know. I'll do things that are much more challenging than that in a day. Things that people wouldn't imagine doing. But for some reason, that very simple administrative task is just like, ugh. And I can feel the stress from that. It doesn't feel good because it's like, I know it's there, but stop. I'll get to it.
Yeah.
Do you ever have tasks that feel like that are just, I mean, it seems like you're thinking about one right now.
Not so much. I mean, I guess it is a task. When I was going to the gym, my thing was getting to the point of getting dressed to go to the gym and get there. Once I was there,
it's not bad.
Fine. I was like, oh, I can spend another hour here. But that from that point of getting dressed to go to the gym and getting there, it was goodness.
It's daunting. Yeah, it's just the initiative of just like that ignition of like that go.
Yeah.
The way I solve that is I lay out my clothes, because that's the most annoying part is like, what am I going to wear? And like, do I have to take a change of clothes? And like, what has to go in my bag?
Yeah.
So I just do that earlier in the day now. It's like, because if it comes time, it's like, yeah, it's gym time. Go get ready. I'm not going to want to do that. But if my bag's there, it's like, all right, I'll fill up my water bottle, grab my bag and go. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's something that if you know yourself, you can kind of work your way around it.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. That'll get done. Number 13. We're almost done. Not drinking enough water until you're thirsty. Thirst means you're already dehydrated. Harvard's hydration studies link this habit to fatigue, overeating, headaches, and mood instability. Yeah, like if somebody's being like sassy or cranky, it's like, go drink some water. Like you're probably dehydrated. And what I wish this mentioned is electrolytes. Sodium, like not salt, not table salt, like Celtic salt, mineral salt.
Yeah.
Not pink Himalayan salt. Magnesium, potassium, which you can get from food. Those are essential for feeling like yourself. Usually if you don't feel like yourself, you're dehydrated. But if you're already feeling like really thirsty, that's a bad sign because that means you're way behind. And if you know the symptoms of dehydration, like your mood, your dryness, like, you know, you're just feeling off, brain fog.
Yeah.
Just imagine like you're depriving your cells in your brain of water. It doesn't feel good. What's your strategy for staying hydrated throughout the day?
So at work, I have a water bottle, not the one with the straw, but one that like that. And it's on my desk, and you place it on the side that I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put it on my left so that I can be doing work and doing other things with my right hand, and I just reach for the water bottle with my left. And it's just, there are days where I only drink one bottle, which is, I don't know how many ounces that is, but that's like the size of my water bottle. Sometimes I have one, maybe other days, I think depending on the weather too, I'll have 2-3 bottles throughout the day.
Yeah, hydration is so tricky. I think more water is always better, especially if you're balancing out with sodium. Sodium is so key. Mm-hmm. Like I've been really big on that lately. Like, put a little more. Put a little more than that water. Like almost having no water without sodium paired with it, because it's so powerful for your brain and for your functioning. I mean, that other day when I was feeling really bad, I had to have been dehydrated on some level, amongst other things. But I know that just sipping throughout the day makes a big difference, especially in how I perform athletically. Like today I made sure to like go hard about hydrating, and in the gym I felt great. I was able to do sprints, I was able to lift, I was able to do the bike. I biked to and from the gym, and I felt great before, during, and after. It doesn't always feel like that. And it's not like I did anything special outside of today making sure to hydrate. So that's a huge thing. I think that's something that's like super understated. People always say like, oh, drink more water. which is true, but you do want to get those electrolytes as well.
And it's room temperature water that I drink. And I've noticed that when I go a long period of time without drinking water, all of a sudden I'm like, I want some ice cold water. And it's just like, I feel so thirsty. And it's probably because,
that middle of the night thirst.
Yeah.
Number 14 is carrying emotional tension in your body, your jaw, shoulders, back, and your breath in terms of your breathing. Harvard psychologists found that chronic tension predicts long-term anxiety and depression more than life events. This could have been a whole article on its own, like emotional tension and trauma held in your body. Like, this isn't some small thing. Like, this is directly what causes like a lot of problems in your body. Carrying emotional tension, we really have to make a whole video on this. But yeah, your jaw, tightness, shoulders, traps, your neck, and your back is where you hold most of it. I'm not exactly sure why, but any sort of tightness and tension is going to create some problems, and it creates inflammation. But what they should have mentioned is fascia, because fascia is what holds tension, and it's what holds emotional tension. And your fascia being tight is what causes inflammation. It's what causes people to kind of look sort of stressed out. Like, you ever see somebody who just like looks stressed, or like something about them just like feels that? Usually it's tight fascia. And a lot of people these days have tight fascia because we're holding tension from emotions, because look at the world. Like, it's hard not to be holding emotional tension. So,
well, today I had a dentist appointment, and the regular dentist that I normally see wasn't there, and I was having a procedure done. And the entire time I was so tense because this dentist it wasn't that she was rough, but she just was very, I don't know. It was just something about her energy.
Give you anxiety?
I don't know what it was. It was something about it that she may be a little rough doing things. Like, there was like water all over my face. And when I was done, I was walking back to the office, and like an hour later, I'm like, my goodness, I'm exhausted. Why am I so tired? My body aches from, and somebody said, oh, it's probably because you were at the dentist. And I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, you're like so stressed out you have to go back now.
Yeah, and like my shoulders, everything was just like tense like this because I was on the chair, and it was just like, all I was thinking was, I have to come back. I hope I don't get her. I hope my regular dentist is back from wherever he was. And it was, and I never have those kind of situations happen to me with dentists, doctors. They're usually very, very good. And yeah, this experience was just not the greatest. And it made my body ache.
Yeah, and sustaining that over a long time is what creates a lot of dis-ease.
Yeah.
Dis-ease creates disease.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. One of the best ways to get rid of a lot of this tension, obviously, is like exercise, stretching, breath work, and whatnot. But if it's emotional tension, like deep trauma and whatnot, like I said, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
About how to deal with that stuff. Final one, number 15, ending your day with digital stimulation. Netflix, TikTok, Instagram loops. Harvard Sleep Labs found that blue light and emotional stimulation reduces sleep by up to 60%. It isn't entertainment, it's slow self-erasure. Blue light is catastrophic for sleep. Blue light is the number one worst thing for your sleep, bar none. I think the second closest thing would be food. Like eating too close to bed and eating the wrong kinds of food before sleep. But blue light going into your eyes tells your brain that it's not nighttime. It tells your brain that it's, like time to wake up and feel that stress again that you felt in the morning. I don't use social media at night. I don't use social media much at all, but at nighttime, I do like to listen to stuff. I like to listen to, like sports podcasts, or like, it's really just background noise, but at the end of the day, it's stimulation. It's electronic stimulation. And there's even talk about like EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies and whatnot, and how that keeps you up at night. Some people are turning off their modems of their Wi-Fi, their routers, because it keeps them up at night. Yeah, this is like one of those things that it's like, if you think about it, it's the same frequencies and like wavelengths that our brain operates with. These are like very like stimulating frequencies. Why wouldn't it mess with us at night? There's conflicting reports about it. To me, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's that. But staring right at the thing, putting the light directly in your retina with blue light that's telling it it's time to, be awake, that's obviously bad for your sleep. Up to 60%.
So what do you...
Reduces deep sleep. I mean...
So what? Don't use social media. What?
Don't use your phone at night.
At all?
I would say 2 hours before sleep. I mean, I'm going to try to push this back more and more and more. I average about 50 minutes of deep sleep a night. That's probably more than most people, quite frankly, but that's not good. Good deep sleep is at least 2 hours. Some people get up to 5 to 6 hours of deep sleep. What do you think our ancestors were getting? Let's go back to the 1940s, not that long ago. What do you think their deep sleep was like? They were sleeping like rocks. They were sleeping good, getting deep sleep. This thing specifically says emotional stimulation reduces deep sleep by up to 60%. Deep sleep is the most precious version of restorative sleep. It's where you get your hormones released. It's where you get your muscles to recover, your brain. There's all the glymphatic brain washout. It's just like the most potent restorative thing you can possibly get. And if it's being reduced by 60%, how could you even negotiate with that? Be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just watch one more reel. Like, it's like so absurd.
I was listening to a podcast and it was about social media and, how terrible it is for adults, but, a lot of children, how they're just so addicted to it. So this doctor said that she had a patient and they're like, well, I like to, scroll at night right before I go to bed. So she's like, okay, well, you can scroll if you want social media, but not in bed. She's like, I want you to stand.
So see how you like it then.
See how you like it then.
Yeah, because
so
it's like numbing you.
Yeah, so the person was like, standing up. She's like, yes, not in your bed, not on the couch, standing. And it was effective because that person was like, well, it lost interest in, doing that. And
because now it becomes an active thing rather than a passive thing.
Right.
It's like, you got to earn these scrolls.
And then, like the putting the phone, not leaving it
out of your room.
That's huge.
Absolutely crucial.
I've never understood why. Maybe it's just like in my mind now, like even if you're traveling, you have the phone, you're like put it in the bathroom, instead, because it's like, where are you going to put it? On your night table?
Yeah. And I mean, it's partially the EMFs thing that I was saying, but it's the other thing. It's like the mental hurdle. Yeah. It's like, oh, my phone's right there.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I used to be addicted to my phone, straight up. I mean, I would like to lower my screen time now. I would not say I'm addicted to my phone anymore. Back when I was addicted to it, that thing was right by my bed. It was right by me at all times.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are probably seeing this and like, well, yeah, duh, me too. It's always by me. But it's like, yo, when you really think about it, that's really sickening. Like, it's always by you. Like, that thing is kind of owning you.
Yeah.
And now that we know that it kills your sleep this much, how could you negotiate with that? Like, there's nothing more important. And, the brain will always find sophisticated ways to justify it. It's like, oh, yeah, you got to keep up. You got to watch this one last video. But there's nothing more important than your sleep. There's nothing more important than deep sleep for recovery, for restoration of your mind, your body. And if you're losing it to Instagram Reels and TikTok, it's like, that's a bad deal you're getting. It's really not worth it. And I mean, right now we're breaking rules. It's late at night, we have lights on and we're doing all this. but we're making an exception. But we are usually pretty good about this stuff. I wear sunglasses at night so that I don't get, the blue light in my eyes late at night. I put filters on my phone, but still, I find myself using my phone at night sometimes. I mean, we're all human, but it's about negotiating with what you think is worth it. Now that I know it's 60% for deep sleep, it's like, am I really going to justify that? Am I really going to be like, yeah, well, I just want to check this one thing. I just want to write this one thing. It's
not worth it.
It's not worth it. There's nothing that's worth it. So with that in mind, let's wrap this up so we can go get some deep sleep. But thank you all for watching. I hope you found this useful and informative. If you want more videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe and share with somebody who you think could benefit from content like this, because as Harvard says, this is slowly killing us. No matter who you are, no matter what age, no matter how much you use or don't use social media or any of these habits, this is affecting you. So thank you guys again for watching. Thank you, Mom, for being on with me.
And share with your friends and your family. You want to be able to, make sure that these people are in your life for a very long time.
For as long as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mom. Goodbye, everyone.